Joining us is Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. Welcome, Mr. Dagg. You are limited in what you can discuss, but generally, what must be proven in a false statement or obstruction case?
It's good to be here. Thank you very much. So, look, it's not. Sometimes these are hard to prove, but at the end of the day, these cases, what we have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt is quite simple. That in this case, Mr. Comey, during a congressional testimony, knowingly lied about something that was important. That's it. That he didn't tell the truth about something that was important, and that it was something that he knew that he was doing, that he was lying. And so, look, the FBI investigated this case very carefully. This is not something that just came up overnight. This is the work of hard-charged prosecutors and investigators that led to the grand jury indictment last week, and now Mr. Comey will get his day in court.
All right, you know your way around a courtroom. I've watched you in a courtroom. The trip between probable cause and beyond a reasonable doubt can be a long one sometimes. So what happens now between indictment and the trial?
Well, we'll produce discovery. There'll be motion practice. And then at some point in the not too distant future, because in Virginia, they go to trial quickly. It's a rocket docket district. There will be a criminal trial, and Mr. Comey will be ably represented, and the government will put up their case. But look, what folks don't know, what Mr. Comey's friends that have been on TV all weekend don't know is what evidence the government has. They saw the video that you played, and they think they know, but they don't. The only people that know the evidence right now is the FBI, the Department of Justice, and the grand jurors in that room.
All right, Mr. Dagg, the Comey saga for many of us began in late 2015, early 2016, but there's this little something called a statute of limitations with most federal crimes. So there is a time limit beyond which you cannot go as a prosecutor or the Bureau. Is that right?
That's right. In this case, both crimes that Mr. Comey has been charged with have a 5-year statute of limitations. The testimony was just about 5 years ago, which is why you saw the indictment come down last Thursday. But I don't think anybody in this country should make most or make a lot of the fact that we were running up against the statute of limitations. This happens regularly in cases like this. You investigate, and at some point, you indict. And so, yes, the statute of limitations was running soon, but obviously we indicted last Thursday before the statute of limitations ran.
All right, Mr. Dagg, are there other ongoing investigations? I know you're very limited in what you can talk, and I want to be fair to you, but are there investigations related to similar fact patterns? Some people are promising this, that, and the other. Some people say this is a one and done, and the people who know can't really say, but generally, are there investigations similar to this fact pattern that are ongoing?
President Trump ran on making sure that the Justice Department was restored, that all the faith that had been lost by citizens of this country because of what happened at this department for the past 4 years would be replaced by people believing that this Justice Department worked for them. And so, yes, you better believe that every single day, Attorney General Bondi, Director Patel, all of our prosecutors around the country, myself, are working hard to restore justice in this country, and that results in investigations. And you're right, we cannot talk about investigations, and we shouldn't talk about investigations. But you better believe that every day that I wake up, every day that Attorney General Bondi goes to the Department of Justice, we're focused on making America safe again and restoring faith and confidence in the Department of Justice.
All right, before I let you go, I know the stabbing on the Charlotte train had a dramatic impact on all of us who watched it, even seasoned, hardened prosecutors. Is there federal jurisdiction, or is that a North Carolina state crime?
No, there's federal jurisdiction for sure. So because the stabbing took place on a train that is supported by federal funds, there's a federal law that makes that a federal crime, which is why we're taking that case federal. And it's a horrible, heartbreaking case. One of the hardest things that I do as Deputy Attorney General is have to wake up and hear about that kind of crime happening. And really it happened because our certain state and local far left judges and prosecutors and local officials have created laws and a system that don't keep Americans safe. There's nothing compassionate about letting somebody out who's been arrested 10 times, whose own mother was begging for law enforcement to help. There's nothing compassionate about laws that protect men like him. And so Attorney General Bondi has been saying it for the past month, and I echo what she's been saying for the past month, which is that if local prosecutors, local laws can't keep our cities safe, then the federal government will. And that's what we're doing. But you're right, it's a heartbreaking story. We saw another heartbreaking story today out of Michigan with a fire and more deaths and more violence. And we have ICE agents every day, all day long, being attacked by citizens and having rocks thrown at them and being pushed. And it's a sad day right now.
Well, Mr. Dagg, you've been good about mentioning the AG and the FBI director, but you got to include yourself. You're a real lawyer who knows your way around a courtroom. You don't play one on television, and that's what we need in this country. Somebody who understands the criminal justice system and the need to keep the public safe. So thank you for taking that and what was probably a pretty significant cut in pay to go work for the government, and for joining us on a Sunday night.
No problem, and thank you. I like starting my week out with you, and I hope you have a good night, Trey.
Thank you. You too, Mr. Dagg.
Former FBI Director James Comey, who was indicted Friday on 2 federal charges alleging that he issued a false statement to Congress and obstructed justice, previously has called for those who lie under oath to face consequences. For example, Comey once railed against lifestyle icon Martha Stewart, who was convicted of misleading federal investigators, and said her case served as an example to deter others from lying to officials. The Stewart experience reminded me that the justice system is an honor system, Comey wrote in his book, A Higher Loyalty, released in 2018. We really can't always tell when people are lying or hiding documents. So when we are able to prove it, we simply must do so as a message to everyone. People must fear the consequences of lying in the justice system, or the system can't work. There once was a time when most people worried about going to hell if they violated an oath taken in the name of God, Comey wrote. That divine deterrence has slipped away from our modern cultures. In its place, people must fear going to jail. To protect the institution of justice and reinforce a culture of truth-telling, she had to be prosecuted. Comey served as the lead prosecutor who indicted Stewart on charges of obstruction of justice and lying to the FBI in 2003, which stemmed from the FBI's insider trading investigation into Stewart's friend's company, Imclone. Stewart ultimately was convicted on 4 counts of obstructing justice and lying to investigators. She was sentenced to 5 months in prison. Comey's statement in his book aligns with those he made at the time. After the charges were filed against Stewart in 2003, Comey said Stewart's case is about lying to the FBI, lying to the SEC and investors. That is conduct that will not be tolerated. Martha Stewart is being prosecuted not because of who she is, but what she did, Comey said at a news conference in 2003. Stewart took a swipe at Comey in her Netflix documentary called Martha, which was released October 2024. It was so horrifying to me that I had to go through that to be a trophy for these idiots in the U.S. Attorney's Office, Stewart said. Fox News Digital reached out to Comey for comment and has yet to receive a reply. Meanwhile, Comey's feud with President Donald Trump is also back in the spotlight following Comey's indictment. The two men have gone head-to-head against each other for years, dating back to Trump's first administration amid the FBI's investigation into whether Russia interfered in the 2016 election, and they have continued to trade barbs during Trump's second term. While Trump has lobbed out terms like sick person and untruthful slimeball, Comey also has hurled criticism against the president and said he's not fit for office. For example, Comey described Trump as someone who lies constantly about matters big and small and insists the American people believe it, and questioned whether Trump embodied U.S. values during an interview in April 2018 with ABC News ahead of the release of his book, A Higher Loyalty. I don't think he's medically unfit to be president. I think he's morally unfit to be president. That's not a policy statement, Comey told ABC News. Again, I don't care what your views are on guns or immigration or taxes. There is something more important than that should unite all of us, and that is our president must embody respect and adhere to the values that are at the core of this country, the most important being truth. This president is not able to do that. That same month, Comey attracted the ire of Trump who accused Comey of being a terrible FBI director and that it was his great honor to fire Comey. James Comey is a proven leaker and liar. Virtually everyone in Washington thought he should be fired for the terrible job he did until he was in fact fired. He leaked classified information for which he should be prosecuted. He lied to Congress under oath, Trump said in a social media post in April 2018. He is a weak and untruthful slimeball who was, as time has proven, a terrible director of the FBI. It was my great honor to fire James Comey, Trump said. Trump fired Comey in May 2017, just after Comey revealed in March 2017, before the House Intelligence Committee, that the FBI had launched a criminal investigation into whether the Trump campaign coordinated with Russia during the 2016 election. At the time, Trump said that he had ousted Comey due to his handling of an investigation into former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server. Comey, who previously identified as a Republican, went on to endorse former President Joe Biden in the 2020 election. He also called for everyone who cares about the rule of law and America's indispensable role in the world to get behind former Vice President Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee during the 2024 election when she went up against Trump. Kamala Harris made me feel like it's finally morning in America, Comey wrote in a post on X in August 2024. More recently, Comey and Trump sparred after the former FBI director posted a photo on Instagram in May depicting shells arranged on a beach to spell out 8647. The term 86 can mean getting rid of something or someone, and Trump is the 47th president. Following backlash from Trump allies who interpreted Comey's post as a threat to remove Trump, Comey said that the thought hadn't crossed his mind and he opposed violence of any kind. Still, Trump didn't buy Comey's explanation. He knew exactly what that meant, Trump told Fox News. A child knows what that meant. If you're the FBI director and you don't know what that meant assassination. Following Comey's indictment, Trump said in a social media post Friday that Comey is one of the worst human beings this country has ever been exposed to, and labeled the former FBI director a dirty cop. The charges against Comey are tied to his testimony before the Senate Judiciary Committee in September 2020 regarding the FBI's investigation into Russia's interference in the 2016 election. Meanwhile, Comey has denied the allegations leveled in the charges against him, and said that he is not afraid. My family and I have known for years that there are costs to standing up to Donald Trump, but we couldn't imagine ourselves living any other way, Comey said in an Instagram video. We will not live on our knees, and you shouldn't either. Somebody that I love dearly recently said that fear is the tool of a tyrant, and she's right.